All right. So we'll move to next chapter. It's about grieving and mourning. It looks very such an obvious thing. What's there to talk about it, grieving and mourning? But there are so many things in this chapter. You'll be surprised that we don't know, and we should know actually. It's not about doing some basic things. People cross their boundaries uh, uh, when it comes to grieving and mourning. And it's natural if a person dies, if your loved one dies, you feel bad. The emotions takes us over, but there are some rulings associated with it, and there are some things that we can do and few things that we should not do. We'll discuss those briefly, inshallah. So, is it okay to weep when somebody dies Islamically? Is it okay? It is definitely okay. Islam doesn't prohibit grieving. It's natural. You don't have to suppress it. You even at the time of the death of the Prophet Muhammad's son, he cried. He wept. The tears came out. But when we say crying, it's of various levels, and we will define it exactly what exactly is allowed and what is not allowed. So there are certain beliefs and practices that are prohibited in when it comes to grieving, and we'll go over it, inshallah. Permissible weeping, so quietly weeping, that is okay, no problem with that. And the hadith, it says that you should not grieve for more than 3 days. The mourning, if you love your relative so much, your wife, your husband, your brother, son, or anybody, of course there's going to be a lot of pain, but you should not keep crying for a long time. More than 3 days, it's not allowed. Then you are crossing the boundary, basically. It's for some people, they naturally love so much, but they have to control at that point. We'll go over that, what should be done, and what exactly is not allowed. And also, if
somebody said that in 3 days the life has to become normal.
Life has to become exactly normal.
Bring back to the normal way of life.
Yeah, we will go over it, like a lot of wrong actions that people do after 3 days even, and we will cover it briefly when it comes to other section. And also the last thing is that it is okay for a person to kiss, like any person, if it is permitted during his life. If he was alive, you can kiss, it's fine. And it is okay for a husband to kiss his wife and so on, and anybody who is allowed to kiss. So that's not something bad. Some people are like, no, that's haram. No, that's allowed, perfectly allowed. So impermissible grieving. What is wrong? The wrong way of doing it. One of the things that is very common in many cultures is that people, after they die, they grieve on the 40th day or the annual, on an annual basis. They fix a day and they say we are commemorating the death. So this is not from the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And it's sometimes they think that they'll get more rewards out of it, and sometimes they say, hey, it's our tradition, culture, we'll do it. But the Prophet, actually the scholars say that this 40 day thing, it came from Fir'aun. Remember that, and the kings during those times, they used to have this custom of 40 days, and then it spread to other nations, and that's when it started. So that's what the scholar said, Sheikh Salih ibn Najid. So it's something that is not from the Sunnah. None of the Sahaba did it. None of the companions, his Tabi Tabi'in, the children of the companions, nobody did it. It started, in the middle of Islam, and people mix with many different cultures. It started up. It doesn't have any place in religion, because the problem, some people might say, hey, it's just a tradition culture, just gathering. But the problem is that when it becomes a tradition, your children will consider it as a part of religion as the generation goes by. But Islam comes and says, hey, you have to stop here, you can't do it. So you have to cut from the roots itself. We have a lot of things that needs to be done. Actually, we have to concentrate and focus on those. And also, excessively praising the dead. It sometimes happens that people invite everybody and they say, just make a gathering, and people just praise. And sometimes it goes like excessive and they cross the boundaries. That is also not allowed. And excessive grieving as well. If you show sadness, or if somebody died, it is wrong. Like there is like duration. People exceed more than 3 days, or maybe intensity. It's just not crying. It's more than that. It's wailing. So both are wrong. Why is it wrong? Because if a person dies, it is the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you are unhappy for a long time, it basically means that you are not happy with the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're objecting. You're basically saying to Allah, that's not fair. You shouldn't have done that. So that's not correct. That's a sin. So you should stay away from that. And also it is very, in some cultures they hitting and scratching the clothes and the body, that is very common. And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that he is not of us. He is not of us who hits the face and tears the clothes and makes the calls of Jahiliyyah. He is not. This is a hadith from Sahih Bukhari. And in some cultures, they dishevel their hair or shave their hair. In Hindu custom, I think they just shave their hair. The sons have to shave their hair. That's again prohibited in a hadith. And sometimes in America, actually, we see some customs that we should not copy those. We should stay away from it. For example, if you go to this funeral, sometimes you see sad music playing in the background. That people do it usually, and you also see people wearing black clothes and black coats. That is again not from the Sunnah, and there is no authentic hadith that says that you have to wear a specific dress code or something. That's just a Western way of doing things. And some people also take a picture and hang it on the wall, or talk to that deceased, and that's also not correct. So, some people also lower the flags. Have you noticed that? Just as an honoring it. I don't know where these comes from, but it's not allowed, all those things. And you will see actually in the times of Jahiliyyah, the people, actually I think it exists even today. I heard in Egypt that what people do is they hire professional people. They hire people, and their job is that in that gathering they will speak, and they are experts. They speak in such a way that that makes people cry. It makes people cry through poetry or songs or something. They have that skill. So people like that to happen. They want to make an event out of it, and they hire these people, and they are paid. So that's again a very bad thing that should be stopped. Should not happen.